And of course, Sunday the 21st August at 1 p.m. Yeah, I was there some years ago. I had a wonderful time, boy. There was a DJ. They played some nice back in times and thing. It was really nice. Yeah, right in front there. And so it was a real nice line. Yeah, I think a fight run me out of there. You know? So all you behave all yourself. When all you go up to the people and them fit, all you behave. Fellas, don't drink liquor and look for fight. Look to enjoy yourself and so on and thing, man. All right, so that is on the 21st of August at the Castara, beach facility there. There will be fish boat race. So them fishing boat first. And I don't know if, of course, the street will be there. So I don't know if we can, I don't know, talk to Antiques and see how best we can do that. All right. And of course, for those of you who want, you're looking to, step up. And we deal with the whole question of literacy one day. I'm not afraid to deal with, the demons that plague people. Anyway, if you're looking for CXC maths, if you're looking for CXC, maths, social studies, and adult literacy, or a tutor, of course, look no further. You can call this number, 785-9352 or 639-6307. And, of course, enroll at the Signal Hill Comprehensive School. And, and classes start on September the 5th, 2016. And, of course, students 14, if you're 14 years, you can start, the time would be from 3:30 to 5 p.m., So that's on Mondays, Tuesdays, adult literacy, from 5 to 7 on a Thursday, right? So for those of you who want to learn to read, because, and I remember when Atla was doing that, there were a number of people who went and got, and you would be surprised to know how many people are, need to be able to function. So maybe, so check that out. So I'm just giving you the numbers again, and this is at the Signal Hill Comprehensive School, and classes would start on the 5th of September. So enroll. You can go in and ask, talk to the principal, tell her you want to enroll to this class for CXC, Mathematics, Social Studies, and Adult Literacy. So for those of you who want to, brush up and so on. Yeah, and of course you can call 785-9352, or 639-6307. All right? So that's it. I'll give you more, and of course, call and you get your information. You want the kids to, improve their academic prowess, you go ahead and you check that out. All right, people? I'll give you more information as we go along. All right, so we're dealing with the whole question of common law relationships as opposed to, and we know of the bitter battles that ensues when there's separation or fallout in some cases. And you would ask yourself, what would contribute to that? How does it reach to that? You see two people loving, living well, and you see them on the street, they're holding hands, they're kissing up when they get opportunity to, and so on. And then something happens somewhere down the road, and they are bitter, bitter enemies. Sometimes, and so the caller, my friend who spoke about the whole question of what is a common law relationship, or how do we deem a relationship common law, and then we could ask the question of what is marriage and all that. We could spend the whole morning dealing with the whole, how we define, relationships, which is legal according to society in some cases, and we could go on. That is another debate. But the whole question of the prenuptial arrangement, as I said, there are some people that will, and Mr. Thomas pointed to it when he said that people rather and prefer, as I said earlier when I was saying to Sharon and a woman will not want to be in a relationship or she would prefer, let me put it that way, to use his term, to choose someone who will be able to take care of her. Not necessarily someone that she's in love with, because that's the first motto of having a relationship. The first motto is that I must be in love with this person. Yes? But in today, because, the other day when I said when love was in, and somebody said, Brother B, how you say love not dying again? Love dying. you know. So, but the whole question of, you know, in some cases, there are battles that last for years in the court, given, you know, the position some may take based on their, should we say, contribution to the relationship. There are some relationship that some women walk into that already done. They have everything. The man have everything. You have a house, you have everything. So she just comes into the relationship. She cannot claim anything according to the act, which is the you know, that protects her. And she probably, you know, sometimes she just goes there, believe that she could live, cohabilitational act, live there for a couple of months and decides to give trouble. Trouble in the sense that she starts claiming that, you know, maybe, you know, and want to get half of what the man worked for all his years. I mean, we had a similar situation with someone who you know, I mean, I don't want to go into that, but is a you know, I think all of Tobago knows, and eventually the court ruled in favor of the man who would have constructed his house, and you walk in there with just yourself. You know, so it really is it's a real issue. It may not be one of those issues that we deem important to talk about, but however, people's lives are being, you know, people are hurt in some cases, and in some cases it ends in death. That's how serious it is. It ends in death. I remember it's a couple of years now. There was a ruling where the judge allowed the woman to go into the house to remove her stuff. Police were there. She went in, the police were in front. I wonder if you all remember the story. And this man maybe sneaked in behind her and cut her throat. And she died, and killed her in the house. You know, so this issue of the whole prenuptial arrangement, because we live in a culture that doesn't treat with where the law has precedent or takes priority in settling matters, we just leave it here. You say, but you had to give the woman half of what you give her. In some cases, she's not entitled. So this is a real issue, and I would probably have, I'll pursue it in terms of getting a legal mind to sit in with me and have this discussion. Meanwhile, you can show your 2 cents in, you know, and we're doing a sober conversation about it, not a jokey one, because it's a serious matter. As I said, lives are being lost in some cases, and so on. Let's go. Hello. Oh, I lost that one. All right, your calls are welcome. 639-0791, 631-9, 660-8373. Let's go. Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Morning, dear.
Yeah, Brother B. What about having, you're living a common law relationship?
Yes.
Right. The guy retire, and he got his retirement money, and you, the common law wife, well, you didn't know that his retirement money come, and one of his family took him and carried him and signed for this money.
Well, you know, in some cases, a common law wife or common law wife would be treated according to how the relationship exists. Let me say that. In some cases, because the boyfriend or the husband would fall out with his family, they would, because they were against the relationship in the first instance. And the common law wife would take care of him down to, you know, if he's in bed, she cleans him, she bathes him, she takes care of him. And he feels indebted to her. So he signs everything and forget his children, you know. Because the children condemn the relationship, never went and looked for the father, never show any interest. So he gives her that. Sometimes it's in the reverse. The wife or the common law wife treats him very badly, and she harms him, she doing all kind of foolishness. And then she's still looking to get what she's not deserving of. And so right there is in some cases where the battle really is. So, you know, it's kind of a 6 that doesn't have for the other. Yeah?
Okay.
All right, but is what at the end of the day, it all calls for good relationships. And how does you maintain, at the step people, you find a woman, but the challenge about that woman or the relationship is to keep the relationship. You could pick up a woman tomorrow morning. You could have relations with her the night after that. The following night, 2 nights after that. But somewhere along the road, is if you have no, and if she's after you for your money, if you have no money, the relationship. And in some cases, women tell you, I'm high maintenance. First up, there are some women who tell you straight up, I am not going to involve with a man that can't help me. I'm telling you straight and plain. They will tell you straight. You can't give me nothing. I don't want nothing to do with you. Straight. So therefore, she's not looking for, and the guy might be in love with her. He might treat her well. He might have to struggle, but she's not prepared to struggle. She wants everything happy, airy, and fairy. Let's go. The calls are welcome. Hello, good morning.
Yes, Brother B, good morning.
Welcome.
There is so many twists to that, right? The guy before from Trinidad was saying that some women, the good said some women, right? Likewise, some men. You would be with a man, love a man, thick or not, money or not, car or not.
Good, yes. Genuine love. Genuineness.
For some reason, they decide what love good for. So then I want money. Then you look for a woman with money.
Right.
The woman with the money now can't really take care of you. Probably in the sense of taking care of. So you have the money, but the genuine care, like you say, high maintenance or whatever, you don't have that. Then what would you then call that? Is it that man or man doesn't love that person? So sick and thin, and they don't take the material things, because after material things, we're not taking it with us, right?
Yes.
So what would you then see? What kind of relationship is that?
You see what your sense of reasoning, now it tells, that has a place. But it doesn't have a place with everybody, because it's not, you are saying material thing, blah, blah, I could leave it, blah, blah, blah. But there are those who go into the relationship for that alone.
Thank you.
And that's the pain. That's where the pain comes.
There is the love.
Yes.
And then there's the material side of it.
Exactly.
Isn't it a combination of the two? Because if I have a man well taking care of me, am I not supposed to be able to take care of him otherwise?
Well, you're a good person. You have good thinking. It's not all of them have that way, and so that's where in some cases. Thank you for that. Brilliant.
Okay.
I love your contribution. All right, 6390791 63102. We're talking prenup, and we're talking, and again, this conversation really needs a legal mind, someone that could guide us through this conversation of how we, in some cases, we don't leave a will. I remember some months ago, maybe a couple of years ago, I spoke to the old question of a will, Yeah, that was a topic. I don't know if any of you remember that. I dealt with with will. But in this case, where we're talking relationships, where children are involved, in some cases, and a man decides, look, I need a woman to take care of me. I need to come home to somebody. As I told, I said, some years ago, I remember cooking a nice soup. I make a nice soup a Saturday, boy. Then time I live in a little pattern thing. I made that soup was so nice. And the soup with tripe and them kind of thing. The long time soup. Yeah. People understand the sweetness of soup is tripe. I just tell anybody that. If you had tripe, and if you know what I'm talking about, there are those of you who would smile and say, yeah, brother, we know what you're talking about. But I make this soup. I tell you, nice dashi. I put a little oh, God, that soup nice. I sit down and I drink it. I take off my shirt. You back your shirt now, man. And if you know about fish broth and soup, when the thing's sweet, you take off your shirt. I take off my shirt, boy, and I sit down and oh, God. And I look in around. Wait. I said, wait. It's me alone. There's nobody here to ask. And them days, yeah, right. It ain't nobody to say, yeah, the soup tastes nice. And I realized I was alone. And I said, but this is not life. I need to share this with somebody. I need somebody to taste this soup and to say, yeah, nah, you are a little more, or criticize the soup, or bless the soup, or praise the soup. And then I said, no, you know what it is? You have to fix that. Life is about sharing. Life is about giving. Life is about loving. And that's what love is. It's about sharing. It's about caring. It's about giving. If I come here and I say nothing, let's say, for example, we had a couple dead air space on this frequency. If I come here and I say nothing, I refuse to share. I might share knowledge, I might share information, I share. If you don't, I give. If I refuse to give, then I fail to function. We don't understand. If you fall out in your house, let me say you and your spouse have a disagreement, and you would get up every morning and say, good morning, dear. How are you? What are you planning today? What are you cooking today? Whatever. And there's no conversation. There's no exchange. There's no giving. You know what happens automatically? Because that's what you do. You give conversation. That's giving, you know. Life is about giving. And what we to say? Oh, well, there's a quotation that says, we give to get. Or is in giving that we receive. Let me use the biblical term, or the expression, or the phrase. So we have to understand that. So when somebody comes into your life or decide to choose somebody, it's because you're allowing them to share your soup. Let me use that. Share my soup. Share my food. How is this tasting? Is it tasting good? So let me say the person decide, well, look, I'm moving on. Somebody else could give me better soup or better life. Yeah, we living in this 4x4 and we happy, yes. But I'm tired of this. I want something. A fella come with the fancy car, the fancy house and so on. You're going over there and you live like a slave. Because you're gone and you give where it is not really, it's not a genuine giving. And there's that too, eh? There are people who believe they must give because they want to receive it. It's not that, you know. There's a different story. There's a total different story. Again, is so if I give, I go get blessing. All right, let me give and wait and hope him. Hello, you don't work so, you know. You have to understand it's genuine. And so when we talk about relationships, with that whole question of how you manage to have gotten, and that is ill-gotten gain. You know. When you go on there and you pretend you love the man and you're there with the man and you're haunting him every Monday morning, and you decide one day I go fall out for spite, just to claim all that you have. Hello, you not see a way, you know. Because it's not genuine. It's a whole conspiracy, it's a whole plot against the individual. You weren't seeing your way with that because there's no genuineness. There are people who leave relationships. Look now, we accumulated all this together, but you see, you were good to me. And you see me, I'm ready to move on. So you keep everything now. And let me, you know. And that is, and you find that person after you leave, watch me now. Listen, you can't stop his prosperity. Let's go. Hello, good morning.
Brother B.
Yes, Andy.
You can make soup for me. Me and one.
Landy, you know, wait there.
Wait there.
But no, go ahead.
Me and why you're tripping? Me eating it.
Landy, you making damn joke.
Me eating tripe.
Listen, you ever had a good broad? You know what we call broad tripe? That's the tripe with the. You know what they call it in America? And let me tell you, that's slave. That come from our history. Eh? In America, they call it chitlins.
Call it what?
Chitlin. It's tripe. Because that's what the slaves were given to eat. Tripe and foot and so on. You didn't know that, eh?
No, sir.
I'm telling you.
Yes, I know these slaves eat that.
Yeah. But I'm telling you,
I'm saying,
if you want a good...
to make broth with it.
No, broth is... No. I'm saying broth... when you're eating broth or you're eating soup, you will take off your shirt. That's what I mean. That's not, I'm not saying you're putting tripe in broth. Please. No. I'm talking about the real soup. And anybody who know what I'm talking about.
Hello.
The sweetest soup you could have, Landy. Challenge me. Take me any day. Let me make a good tripe soup.
Me want no broth.
Not broth.
No tripe.
Well, there
you want no tripe. You want no pudding.
We ain't don't
you want no oxtail.
That you. All right. That is not the conversation. Anyhow, go into
it. Yeah, right. Yeah, the last caller there. Yeah, I like your contribution.
Yes.
Yeah. But then there's other way to you're married, right? Your wife then, well, yes, you married your wife, never do well with you. Never do well with you.
Yes.
They do so, with the bassa in the house, because I'm telling you flat, if a wife thinks she's not doing good home with she man, or she husband, and he has sit down there, I don't think he go outside, go look for nothing she like. Right? That's a make more bacchanal. Right? Then she pick up and she go. Never care about you. Your eye come and close. I might done for about 10 years or more. You know she coming back to fight for you, right?
Why?
Right, because exactly. Why? You don't care about the man. Why you want things?
Right, exactly. No, right there is where the trouble to start, because there is going to be resistance, because obviously they're going to say, hey, Wina, it's now you know me.
Okay.
And so on. And then, so in other words, I will ensure that my children or whoever, is deserving of what what I would accumulate over the years.
Yes.
So and this is where, and this is why I spoke about the whole question of those who conveniently get involved with people because there is a material material prosperity and greed.
Yeah, that's happened, man. I tried to show them boys yesterday, but like Malan, he going mad, me, you know.
But what I want to do though is to have I'll seek a legal mind to have a conversation about wills and this whole common law and the rights of a common law wife, because wife, we only go to church to see that or have a legal paper to claim that.
But
relationship, at the end of the day, is a relationship, whether it's common law or legal right.
Exactly. I think Pandy was saying 7 months.
7 months? No, it's 5
7 years.
No, it's 5 years. 5 years.
But it must drop down to 5 years. But Pandy first was saying once you're with this.
But Landy, you know there are women who could concoct that, whether they spend a couple of months with you and concoct and claim and get through with it.
Yes.
You know that?
But we get telling film stars, them money people, man is running to them, married to them, right? And after 6, 7 months, they fall up with them and they're claiming. But after the woman does do it too. And claim half of the wealth and get you. What do you mean?
But you know the one
woman who said she want peanut, she's quite right.
Yes. A peanut, man. Give me a peanut. All right, Panda. Thank you. And of course, and then there are those who, so people, what I will do, I will seek a legal mind. I'm right away, my mind went on someone, I don't want to call her name out there. And she's a legal mind in this Tobago, and I'm sure she'll be happy once there is the available time, once she has the time to come in and talk about that kind of arrangement. And you might say that if I draft up a prenup to protect my interest, then I really love you. That could be a discussion that, you're protecting your wealth, so happen. You happen. So you have nothing to give me, so why should I get involved with you? If that is in the forefront, then obviously there's a question, quote unquote, over the head, because I remember, so as I said, this conversation needs a legal mind to guide us through. So I wouldn't try to pursue it further, really. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Brother B.
My dear.
How are you this morning?
I'm good.
Uncle Andy, good morning. I know you love Town and listening. Brother B.
Yes.
Your conversation went straight home. Straight home. I sit here with tears in my eyes. It is really.
Oh my God. No, don't get ready. I want to hear your story, if you don't mind sharing. Yes. Go ahead, darling. Hello? Move away.
Yeah, hello, on the radio.
Yes, all right, good. Go ahead.
Yeah, Brother B, it's real. It went straight home. And it's vice versa. You have men, you will pick them up, reach them with nothing, make our home something what it's supposed to be. And in the end, when they see something else outside that they want, they tell you go. I'm locked on and listening. I want to hear more about it. If you could get a legal advice.
Yes, I will. Trust me, I'm pursuing that vigorously. And trust me, in fact, when I leave here, I want to go and finish up something I'm doing, so I just want to spend as much time doing that. Good morning, Lennox Poop. I'm a partner from a long time, boy. Poopy, what's up, my brother? And, of course, the entire family. All right, so I want to shift gears, and I want to deal with this whole question of diseases. Presently, we have drawn a line in varying parts of the Caribbean where we cannot travel as freely as we used to. And I remember I could go back to the days of polio, And yellow fever was as popular as polio during that era. I don't know if you remember, for those of you who remember polio in the 70s, 60s, late 60s into the 70s. Polio was a real disease. And it was a crippling disease in that you would lose, in the 60s into the 70s, late 70s, early 70s, it died off. They found a cure, as it were. And polio used to cripple you, or, you'd walk finny and, you would, as we call it. And that was a disease that was treated with. I don't know how it manifested itself. I'm not trying to, I'm just speaking to what we would have grown accustomed to in Trinidad and Tobago in this space. Yellow fever and malaria were diseases that were transmitted through the insect that we call the mosquito. Yellow fever and malaria. Malaria has been around since Adam was a boy. Now, after that, let me fast forward to 2000 and 2016. After that, we heard of a number of diseases transmitted through the same mosquito. But, well, you're infected by these mosquitoes, quote unquote. Now, we cannot travel freely through our Caribbean neighbors if we do not have a yellow fever vaccination. I remember in primary school, when I was in the Mason government primary school, they had given us vaccine for yellow fever, typhoid. There was a disease called typhoid. All you remember that? Typhoid. Yellow fever. I mentioned the one there, it was polio. And they gave us vaccine for that. I have something on my arm, on my left arm here, up to now. That is a yellow fever vaccine. Now, the fallout with Jamaica and Trinidad triggered a kind of attitude, a tit-for-tat attitude. And other Caribbean neighbors copied the foolishness. Now, I am asking the question. It's a dumb question. I'm going to ask it for spite. Now, so we have presently, I know, dealing with the disease, and I am asking, I don't want to say it. I want you to tell me. Now, these mosquitoes, I'm trying to figure out, here what I'm trying to figure out. From yellow fever to typhoid to malaria, all are mosquitoes. These are mosquitoes. Now, I'm trying to figure out, now they said that the one who is really the dangerous one is the one with the white foot. The mosquito with the pretty foot. I don't know if you ever captured and watched them. I have actually watched those. And then you have coming down to the 2000. You have swine flu. You have no, swine flu is not mosquito. Swine flu is a different story. You have what is the one in Trinidad? They're very popular. Oh boy. Anyhow, and you have Zika. They have one between there. It will come just now. When your body get cool, it's sun hot like hell, you're still cool. What's the name of that one? But anyhow, coming in. Malaria. Oh God, I'll get it. Anyhow, so we have to battle with all these diseases. I'm dealing with the whole question. I'm coming to Zika, you know, because I'm trying to figure out if this malaria mosquito, this the one that is, I'm going to get it just now. And all these mosquitoes, or this mosquito, is toting all these diseases. There was a conversation about creating a, listen to me well, There was a conversation about creating a mosquito. Who is creating the mosquito to interact or to counteract or to get rid of the mosquito that carry the disease in Trinidad? Still ain't getting it, you know. A mosquito was designed in a laboratory to attack and to get rid of the mosquito that carried that virus. Now, I'm asking myself. Now, Zika is a crippling disease. I saw the show on Facebook, a child that was born with the Zika. Now, the child, and let me tell you, and we could ask ourselves whether this is sign at the time, you know. And then you are those who believe, and according to revelation in the Bible, that would say, yes, this is the sign of the time. Now, I want to just eradicate that whole question of yellow fever vaccination to travel to the varying Caribbean nations. America, the big nations that really concerned about the health and so on, does quarantine. If you carry a bush that they don't understand, you can't bring it in the country. You can't take it to England, you can't take it to America. And it's not an issue to travel to America and these big developed countries in the world. Yellow fever is not an issue. Just to go to varying parts of the Caribbean, you have to provide a yellow fever vaccine. Now, I'm asking myself, which is more important? Now, we have another mosquito-toting disease that we call Zika. Where the hell that come from? I'm going to ask you that plain, and it's a stupid question. How did that manage to have happened? Can we revisit the idea of creating a mosquito in some laboratory to counteract the mosquito that carries the other diseases? Am I really talking something that needs a national conversation about? So Zika has threatened all the Olympians in Brazil. They traveled there, they've gone into the Zika birthplace. And it's not a conversation. But we have to now go and get a yellow fever vaccine to go in Zika country. Now, does that make sense? Why aren't we having a conversation about the battle? Now, what does yellow fever do in comparison to what Zika does? You watch the child that was born when a woman was infected by a mosquito that carried the Zika virus. Watch the child. You would be frightened. Which is more concerning? Which of these two diseases really deserve focus upon or to be focused upon? And we wonder what really is priority in this country. Where the hell did Zika come out? All of a sudden? Is there a question that nobody is willing to ask? Or is it a question that is a question that nobody can answer or refuse to answer? When you watch the child that is born, that was the parent got the Zika, listen now, you're flocking to watch the child. First, the child looks scary. Something is wrong. What Stalin say? Something burning or something smelling. I'm smelling something. People have said enough. Which is more important to fight against? You might tell me all. But really, this disease is crippling young unborn children or unborn child in the mother's womb. When the child is born, why isn't there any real focus on where the hell did the disease come out? That's what I want to know. Your calls are welcome, people. 6390791, 6310219, 660. Are you concerned? And in Tobago, let me play that Tobago is any safe place, you know. And, you know, and somebody tell me the disease are trying to find in the, every year it has come out, man. Dengue. Let's go. Hello, good morning.
Brother B is dengue.
Yes, I get it. Now, which is more important? The battle against Zika or the battle against yellow fever?
The battle against Zika.
It's Zika. Okay, all right. So you find a stupidness that all of a sudden we had to provide this vaccination to go to islands that don't, you know. And let me ask, I want to ask, a plane load coming from England, are they asking that trip for, because they're saying you can't enter Jamaica and other parts of the Caribbean. There are other parts of the Caribbean that you have to provide this yellow fever vaccine. When a plane lands in Ocho Rios from United States, do they ask the Americans to provide yellow fever vaccine? Who they talk? You know, I don't wonder what it is, you know. Can they, I mean, do they have to provide that? What is this conversation? What is this animosity throughout the varying parts of the Caribbean that you have to provide this yellow fever vaccine? And we have Zika crippling babies. And that is not a concern. So you could walk in there with your Zika. A mosquito sting you and go and sting somebody else and they contract the disease. And that's okay. You see the point I'm making? Is it a conspiracy? I'm asking this question. Are these scientists in these labs concocting these? Because they said, I'm saying, and of course you go and check it out, where are these diseases coming from? Let's go. Hello, good morning.
Well, Brother B.
And is you alone on the phone?
It looks like I was showing you.
Go ahead, Panda, talk it out. Go ahead, I'm listening. Yeah.
I will say it to them, yeah. Yeah, well, the baby and them is important. The baby and them is important. Hello, Brother B.
Yeah, Landy, go ahead, I'm listening to you, go ahead. Yeah. When you ask, is the baby is important? Hello? Landy, I was doing I do 100 things in me alone there, but you know. All right, go ahead. Yes.
So what you were asking, is the baby important on the mosquito?
No, listen, the Zika virus is crippling unborn babies.
Mm-hmm.
Landy, you remember, you heard what I said about the whole trend of diseases that we had to battle? Mm-hmm. Remember they was giving out yellow fever vaccination years ago? And they said that is keep you immune for all your life? You remember that?
Yes. I checked that.
Good. Now, all of a sudden, and I'm asking the question, which is more important to launch a battle against? And the point I am making is dotishness. the American plane that lands in Jamaica do not have to provide a yellow fever vaccine. We in the Caribbean finding all kind of dotishness to make an excuse to create confusion, you know.
So who said that we have to get the vaccine?
Landy,
not the authorities?
Yes.
But the authorities here
Landy,
say that?
if you're going to any Caribbean island, there's a ban. There's a requirement that you have to provide, and you have to have 10 days. You have to have the vaccine 10 days prior to your traveling. Now, I am asking, Zika is crippling babies across the Caribbean here. You could walk in with your, you can't call me now, whoever is calling me. You have to call on this phone here. You could walk in the country that has this stipulation that you have to provide the yellow fever sudden, and and so you could go in there with loaded with Zika, and that is not a concern.
Right.
Yellow fever is, and that is why I find it does not make sense, and this is the point I'm making. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, the two of them important. You
know.
You know, I find the two of them important is the authority.
But more importantly, Landy, I am not even debating that. More importantly, the question I'm asking, where are these diseases coming from? That's all I'm asking.
All right.
Great. All right?
Well, I asked that question last night.
Okay, good. Well,
you are man-made. A little while you all called me on the telephone me and she was talking. Yes, little while.
All right, but I want them to tell me. I want them to call in and tell me that. Because I want to know. Because I want to.
Where these things come from?
Exactly. All of a sudden.
Chikungunya.
Everything.
I was talking to call it chikungunya.
Yeah, right.
The chikungunya.
Yeah.
And when all these things coming down, time after time, where they're coming from, brother.
Excellent. Yeah, man.
I find they must be making these things. They must have too much people in the world.
I tell you.
So close half of the people. And the politicians will get most of the money.
I tell you, father. All right, leave it there. Let's take another. All right. Hello, good morning.
Brother B, good morning.
Good morning there.
But I try to find out, I asked you that same question where you asking the baby now. Serious, you know? Because of that baby there. When I watch a picnic there, what else I create to watch
I tell you, time. Something is wrong.
Something wrong there, Brother B. So this vaccine we have in hand since 1911. Vaccine against all kind of human disease, man-made disease.
Yes.
And we have to go battle with yellow fever to go in a country and Zika cannot be children on them.
But so you understand the point I'm making. Brilliant. Thank you for that.
Yes, Brother B, something wrong.
Something is wrong. Excellent. All right, people, 6390791. Are these diseases concocted? I mean, really? Every Monday morning you wake up, you're hearing about a new disease, and it's toted by mosquito. What are these people in these white long sudden in these little air-conditioned rooms? What are they concocting? We have to examine. We have a disease called cancer. Ronald Reagan had given America and spent money to go to even in space. You remember the whole question of the for stem cell research to battle cancer. Cancer is taking lives in Trinidad and Tobago in the world. And there's no interest in that. Where you are the fight, I don't listen. Are these diseases concocted? How come mosquito carrying so much disease? Was malaria the only disease we know mosquito was taught in? Let's go. Hello, good morning.
President, good morning to you, brother.
My darling, how are you?
Praise the Lord for today.
Is this sign of the time, Miss Sandy?
No, yes. No, let us think a little better, and who read the Bible will know.
Go ahead.
In the last days, there were angels who have to throw some vials. Let us get the Bible and get the answer that we are seeking. You understand?
So the vials, the angels.
The angels, yes, there are plenty more things to come. Because we are approaching the last days, right? So let us get wise.
Okay. Thank you for that. Excellent. All right, people, 639. So as far as Miss Sandy is concerned, it is sign of the time that all these, they say there will be plagues and pestilence. Are we in that space where there will be plagues and pestilence? Where are these diseases coming from? This Zika. Nobody's interested in waging a war against Zika, or is there a conspiracy to have create an industry? Are these diseases man-made? One have to ask this question. Let's go. The lines are open. Are you concerned? 6390791 6310219 6608373. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, sir.
I go on the computer and look at Jimmy Carter Commission whole report and read it, and then I will talk to you after. Go on the computer, read 2,000 reports.
Okay. All right, I'll do
Read
that.
it for yourself because I have my interpretation about it. I want
Okay.
to hear yours on it.
All right. Well, and you know, there is what you call now. You know, so I will do that. But the point I'm making is, if you are living in a space, you're living in a world, and it's also documented in the Bible that one must observe all things. You cannot be naive and survive in a space that you dwell in. In fact, you have a right to be here. And there are things that you must question, given what can happen to you if you pretend that it doesn't happen or it's not happening. You have a right to question. You have a right to make your voice heard on any matter that you believe. Even though you talk among your friends, you are still questioning it. You don't necessarily have to say it on this space that I'm utilizing. So we have a serious concern about these every Monday morning diseases. We have to seriously attack it, because if man is concocting it, we must shut down where man is doing that. We had to listen. Let's go. Hello, good morning.
Morning, brother B.
Morning. Are these diseases man-made?
Yeah, you know what I call it? That is genetic warfare, man.
Genetic warfare?
Yeah, that is it.
So that this Zika and this all that is concocted somewhere?
Yeah. And they're targeting certain races of people. Yeah, it's genetic warfare.
Genetic warfare, boy. I tell you.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, man, thank you. All right. Yeah, your calls are welcome. 639-0791 6310219. And of course, we have, let's go. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, brother.
Welcome, my dear.
I believe it's a man-made thing.
Uh-huh.
Yes, because not too long my niece Tante, look, I have a little rash on my skin just like that. I talked to she, brother B. And he said, reach 5 minutes, I start getting the rash.
You serious?
Yes.
So
So I believe it's a man-made thing. A mosquito can cause all of that.
I tell you, but you know, excellent. Now, you know what? Not necessarily triggered my my concern, but I'm a very, you know, when they said that they wanted to invent or create a mosquito. Now, the fact that you would want to create another type of mosquito tells me that you could you want to create one that is a good mosquito to get rid of the bad mosquito. How the dickens can you create a mosquito? Now, I'm not saying, now we know that chickens are hatched without in incubator, and we know the technology and so on. But one have to examine, and we have to really question, these what we call scientists, these fellas with a white long cloak, and the inside there with the gloves and so on. What are they doing in those labs? Something is wrong. You talk about a fella walking with a gun and a knife and robbing and killing. You see them fellas inside there that had a degree to do that? That is as equal or even worse in some cases. The fella said what? Genetic warfare? Who is concocting it? Is that somebody that we respect, you know? Them fellas are dangerous people, you know. Something is wrong. Are these diseases concocted? Let's go. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, brother B.
Yes, there.
I believe it's scientists doing all these things.
Uh-huh.
Because no mosquito can spread all them diseases. Scientists doing the nonsense in the lab.
Okay, so it's not a stupid question I'm asking?
No, it's not a stupid question. I always believe it's scientists creating all these diseases.
Okay. So and the point I'm making about the bandit who walking around with the gun and the knife, holding you up, we condemn you and we criticize you, but you know we can't question them fellas, them white fellas in them places there. We can't question them, you know. And this is the thing about how we exist in a world, you know. The fella with the cloak, the white cloak, he is worse than the fella with a gun in his hand. Somebody needs to invade that space and find out. Well, you know, the excuse will be, not the excuse, but they will get away with it because we don't have a clue what they're doing there. Because they're brighter than we as far as that is concerned. But I'm saying, one has to ask, stop for a minute. Just stop for a minute and ask, where are these diseases coming from? You know, you remember recently, very recently, we had the Ebola threat. And then people say that disease was around a long time and blah, 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 blah. Up to now, we don't know. And again, too, propaganda and media promotion or highlighting a topic would create panic and so on. We don't know because there's no media attention on this disease anymore. You would see anybody talk about Ebola anymore? It's still killing people in Africa, you know. It is still taking lives in Africa. It's because it's like a hit, a musical hit. I feel like I'm with a tune. You hear about a couple of weeks, it's a big hit, everybody playing it 100 times. After a time, it dies off, naturally. Because you hear it 100 times. It's the same thing with any sensationalism of any particular issue. So the interest of the media doesn't really gravitate to it anymore because the excitement and the hysteria and the all it has passed, but Ebola is still there. Some of us for the first time hearing the term, talk about some Baton experiment and some river in Africa, Ebola river and so on. We really have to ask that. All right, people, so as I said, with that question of the prenuptial arrangement, I'll make, not prenup, we'll deal with wills and the legality and how legal it is, or how, you know, when a young lady, you know, goes or moves in, or a man moves in with a woman, what are their rights and all of that. So we'll deal with that, right? And of course, we know we could even deal with cross-4. All that will be talked about. So trust me, I'm going to make a move to have that conversation from a legal standpoint, a legal mind treat with that. All right, people, so we have treated with the whole question of disease, and I've continued to say we need to wage a war against cancer. And how do we do that? That might be a question. How do we wage a war against cancer? We say we are the contributors to our own cancers by the way we eat and so on. That might be a debate, but we have to examine how come all of our almost 9 out of 10 women are diagnosed every day with fibroids. Where did that come from all of a sudden? You know, fibroid and cysts, and they become cancerous within a very short period of time. That is a question we need to ask. Why? Where did that come from all of a sudden? All of a sudden. All right, let's take a call. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, sir.
And this is your common law relation.
No, I'm not going back there now. So I'm going to deal with that. Oh, yeah, you wanted to ask me that? All right, well, yeah. Well, I'll go ahead now. Finish up. Hello? All right, well, he's gone. But no, I moved on from that. I said I'm going to deal with that with a legal mind. I'm going to find an attorney, and we're going to sit down here and have that conversation, okay? Because I don't want to sound hairy-fairy. I want to deal with facts and data and so on. Let's go. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Berabi.
Yes, sir.
It's not only those mosquito virus, you know, down to the food we eat in this black people chopping. Down to the food we eat in. So it's not only mosquito. I know them things. I always believe them things is man-made things.
Something is wrong, man.
Yeah, and if we go back to the original food, I feel the food that we eating, it's making it trigger more.
Yeah.
We have to go back to the original thing.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Yeah. And you know, so you know, I try to make sense of this yellow fever story that just pop up all of a sudden, and you know, it's a requirement and foolishness to travel. And I'm asking, who is targeted in this whole new requirement? And I'm saying our folks could come from anywhere else in the world and don't have to provide yellow fever vaccination. You know, look, Zika killing people and that is not an issue, or crippling people and is not an issue. Oh, look. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Brother B.
Morning, dear.
Yes, I was saying, it's a part in the Bible.
Caller? Hello? Oh boy. Call back, please. Something happened, and I need to hear that part of the Bible that you were talking to. I have 6 minutes before the Watson Duke hour. Well, not the PDP hour. Dr. Faith is here already, and we'll get into that in a few. But meanwhile, I can take your call back, caller. Apparently, something happened there. I don't know what happened. Well, something happened. I don't know what happened, yes. And, yeah. All right, so, and clearly, we are in, according to Miss Sandy, if you read the Bible, you will acknowledge that we are in the last days. And then there are those who would say we're hearing that for hundreds of years now. There's nothing new. Disease has always been with us and will continue to be with us. However, we cannot play down the part that says there will be plagues and pestilence. Yes? And there are parts in Africa that have this, and I have 2 sorrel plants in my yard. And something is eating the leaves of the sorrel tree. Right? I went out, when we were children, my mother used to make us look for light bullifay and look for ants that eating down either a fruit tree or, and that was bachak, yeah? And so we had to go out in the night. My brother Patrick and I, we used to go out in the night and look for bachak, follow the bachak, and then we'd hot some water because we couldn't afford, what you call it, ants beat? Myrex and them things. But of course, we used to eventually do that in the yam field and so on, get Myrex and so on. But in the night, we hot some water, find I think it was a book we used to call that, when you find the nest of the bachak ants. And we would boil the hot water, we would trail it, because in the night they would tote and, they follow them and so on. And we'd find them. So anyhow, I went looking, I had a little flashlight and I go there in the night, I say, hey, I go find, if it's ants eating down them, my soil plants, I go find nobody living tonight. Go on out there, couple of nights, I look in, I ain't see no ants. I throw a mango skin. I say, right, there are no bachak like that. Because that's how you know whether it's ants or not. And I tell you earlier, this is Tobago culture. I don't think there's do that anywhere else in the world. Anyway, and I find it, I ain't see no ants. I look in, I go the second night, third night, still no ants. But the leaves are being eaten. Up to now, I don't know what is eating the leaves. And I tell you, eating worse than bachak. Now we talk about plague and pestilence. My information is there's a bachak, not a bachak, we call it a grasshopper that is responsible for that. A particular type of grasshopper that is going around eating particular types of leaves, and it eat it worse than the bachak. So we really have to ask ourselves about this whole question of the plagues and pestilence. So if it is that diseases are created according to man, with this plague and pestilence, then we really are in the last days. All right, people, I take one more and we go into Dr. Dr. Faith, and we see a young man here representing. Good morning, quickly.
Yeah, Brother B, I was talking about the part in the Bible that says in Ecclesiastes 8 and verses 8, verses 9, it says that man has dominated man to his own injury. So I feel like there's some man-made thing, like, causing all these things.
Yeah, and clearly. So I think we need to question and to examine these fellas. We need to have somebody, a neutral person, to go in these laboratories and see and find out what they are doing in those laboratories. All right? All right, people. It is now 7:58, 1 minute, for 8 o'clock. But good morning, Dr. Faith. How are you?
Good morning, Brother B. Good morning, good morning, good morning, Tobago. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Good morning to the entire listening population. Good morning, Monique. I could call your name. Morning, sweetie. How are you?
Yes.
So the Progressive Democratic Patriots is here this morning again.
Yes.
We are continuing the discussion about sports and so forth. Today we are talking about sports policy. Now, I am actually really excited because when I came down here this morning, I realized there was a lot of activity on the streets coming into Crown Point, because there seemed to have been some kind of walking race, some kind of running, some kind of biking, something that's happening out there. And I'm really, really excited that Tobagonians are in fact taking up this thing, and they are really actually exercising, really actually getting involved in sports and really doing this thing. Now, I'm also excited, Brother B, because I have, as you mentioned, I have a young man here with me this morning. And this is a young Tobagonian who, you know, they say a man who you're well proud.
And pleased.
Yeah,
You're well
pleased.
This is my son, whom
I'm well pleased. Exactly, exactly. Well, not my son, but a son of the soil, a Tobagonian who decided that he wanted to go out of Tobago, so he went to Trinidad and studied sports science. So there's actually a science behind this thing, and he has come back and decided that he wanted to be a part of the process. So I'm going to give Mr. Benjamin an opportunity to just say hello. Mr. Benjamin?
Good morning, sir. Yeah.
Hi, good morning, Tobago. My name is Roak Benjamin. I'm from Tobago, lived Tobago most of my life, but went to Trinidad to study and come back now to try to impart some knowledge on the masses of Tobago.
How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 29 years of age.
Okay, you're a young man.
Yes, a very, a very, very young man.
All right. So you want? So you did sports science, you said?
Yeah, sports science.
What is sports science?
Sports science is actually the breakdown of how to train an athlete, how to rehab an athlete, specifically for his sports.
All right, and in which, is there any particular sport or just sports in general?
Sports in general.
Okay.
Sports science is about all different type of sports.
All right, because the other day Dr. Faith was talking about your friend who is from Goodwood, that is
right, who does physiotherapy.
Physiotherapy.
Right.
And so science, the sports science in developing and training and so on, depend. And so you would, for example, you would watch me and say, let's say you watch me bat, and I could make pretty stroke and thing. To make me a professional, that is where you come in.
Yes, that's right.
Exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
I just wanted to be sure.
Yeah, exactly, because it is not, and I'm glad you asked those questions, because people are probably thinking sports science. Those are two terms we don't really hear together. Now, before we do that, let me say some shout outs, because sometimes when we get into the thing, we just kind of forget and so on. Apparently, the whole of Golden Lane does be listening.
Oh, very good. Golden Lane, Culloden.
Good morning, Golden Lane. Good morning, Culloden. Good morning, Mount Thomas. Yes, that entire Mount Cullen. Oh, okay, so they're created like a swarm food. Great man. Of course, we have Goodwood on board all the time. We have our guys in Belgarden who always listening. We forgot yesterday, as we were mentioning some of the greats in Tobago, we forgot to mention the fact that Dr. Eastland Mackenzie was really, really instrumental in ensuring that we have the YMCA that we have in Mount Irvin?
Yes.
Is that Mount Irvin area, the swimming pool area, and so forth. And we thought it was good to highlight the fact that was happening, and that is something that is important to us. Now, today we're going to talk a little. Yesterday we were talking about the importance of sports in development. And today we're going to talk a little bit about the concept of sports policies and why sports policies are important, and some of the things that are kind of critical to being within a sport policy. Now, if you go back, remember we were saying a couple weeks ago that the Tobago House of Assembly is responsible for creating policies and implementing policies according to the 5th schedule. And of course, sports is one of those things that are within the 5th schedule of the THA Act. Now, when we say create policies, what are we talking about? What is a policy? Now, that is a word that normally is thrown out all the time, and we really don't know what it is. Now, a policy is really just a document or a guide that tells us how we should behave, how we should act in the future. It is something that allows us standards. It's something that allows us guidelines. It is something that allows us a direction. So we know, okay, if and when this thing happens, this is how we are going to function. This is what we are going to do. This is where we are going to go. So that is a policy. So when we say that the THA is responsible for developing policies that relate to sports in Tobago, that is what we're talking about. A document that really guides the process of what we do with sports. Right. Now, we went searching, and a couple people actually contacted us after our conversation yesterday and the day before. And we went searching. Now, I had already read the national sporting policy, so the sporting policy for Trinidad and Tobago. That is online. I read that. And we did highlight the fact that there was a draft THA sporting policy. Now it is in draft. Now what that says, and that is something that we have to talk about generally, how we create policies in Tobago and how we move it from this draft stage to the final stage, because we have plenty policies that are in draft, and the fact that they say draft, it means that the final rubber stamping on it to say this is the policy we are going to use has not actually happened, which means the people who should be using the policies, they're not quite sure. It's still in draft. Is this what we're doing, or where are we going with it? We're not sure if this has been officially given the rubber stamp, and the fact that it says draft means you're right, it has not been given the official rubber stamp. Okay. So the THA, the Division of Education, Youth Affairs and Sport, does have a draft sport policy. But even as we look at that draft policy, we're realizing that there are some things that needed to be beefed up. There are some critical things, some of the things we spoke about yesterday and the day before, that need to be beefed up. So what we've decided to do is to go ahead and look at other areas, look at other countries, look at other regions that are excelling in sports, and looking at what their policies include, what are some of the things that their policies speak to, what are some of the mandates that are within their policies, because that is what it is. If it's in the policy, it means that anyone who is actually doing it, they need to follow these guidelines. And it also means that if it is not in the policy, it means, we're not quite sure whether we will follow it or not. Okay? So that is why it needs to actually be in the policy document. Right. So we've been doing some work, and we have the sports scientists here with us. And I am going to ask Mr. Benjamin to really look at some of the things that we looked at, some of the things that we saw in, for example, the UK sports policy. And I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about some of the ideas that you saw that were part of the UK policy.
Yes, one thing that struck me about the UK policy is that they took 5 key components of what they want to get out of developing their new sport policy. And their policy actually is a new strategy for an active nation.
Right.
So they realize that it has people that does activities or does certain set of activities, but you need the whole nation to be active. It's not only sports would give you the activities, because some people have no time for recreation to go and run and do the other thing, but there are other activities that you can do that will be physical activity enough for exercise.
Right.
We spoke a little bit about that yesterday.
Yes, exactly. And the fact that there is the difference between actually exercising and increasing the amount of exercise you do versus increasing the amount of physical activity that you do. That is a differentiation that we have not been making. So go ahead, Mr. Benjamin.
And these 5 key concentration points is, one is physical well-being. They make sure when you're doing sport that
stay close. Right. Yeah.
When you're doing sports, you have to look forward to physical well-being, mental well-being. That is important for sport. You relieve stress, so you have time to relax and your mind at ease. Individual development, self. That is introspection. A player, when he start to get better inside himself, he feel better and could express himself better. Social and community development. Sport is something that can be used socially in all communities, because all sports...
Right, stay right there. Talk right there. Yes, good.
Because sports can influence a lot of youths, and right now the community needs the sport to foster togetherness with the youths.
Right.
And also it brings economic development. When sport rises in the country, it has sports personnel that rise and they can earn without going outside. They can just stay home and earn money in their own country. So those are the 5 key components that the English policy really stresses on. It has other points where they separate the roles of the government in order for the inclusion and the funding to run smoothly. Because not the central government cannot do everything.
Exactly.
Because they have a whole heap of other stuff to take care of to make sure the whole country running right. So you have to set up it in an order that it trickles down. The funding could trickle down, and there is accountability for the money that is being funded to the for the policy.
So what you're saying is that, there are times, unfortunately, we look to the government to do everything, and we kind of sit back and throw up our hands and say, if the government isn't doing it, then it does not get done. But what the UK is recognizing and what we are recognizing here is that really the government cannot do absolutely everything. You need other partners, you need other people who are funders, and that's where the corporate people come in, that's where the NGOs come in, that's where you may find grants from other places. They would come in to supplement what the government can fund, so that you have a well-rounded and you have a sustainable kind of thing that is not just waiting for the government of the day to fund absolutely everything, because that's just not practical.
It's not practical.
Right.
Their thing is, the UK stuff is like the central government is their main thing is to set the level of policy, a high level policy to guide how public money is invested.
Right.
So that is just basically because they can make all the decisions. They set their order so that the money can be used and accounted.
Okay, let me engage you 1 second, because obviously I there are things that you look for when somebody speaks. You look at their eyes, and you look at the manner in which obviously you're dealing with a little nerves, because the first time you're probably in a radio station and you had to deal, but I see a genuine concern for sporting development in Tobago. Once you would have gone for that kind of research as to, it means therefore you want to see how best that can be adopted in the Tobago space, because there is something that is driving you. You did not come here this morning because Dr. Faith asked you or Watson asked you. You were supposed to, you wanted to do this for a long time.
Exactly.
Hence you got involved in sports science. Tell us how, well, obviously you discussed it with something.
Well, Brother B, before you go down there, we actually, because we want to deal with the policies today specifically, we're actually going to give Mr. Benjamin an opportunity tomorrow to talk about his transitioning and what got him to this point, and the fact that this is actually a really good sportsman that we have sitting here, and somebody who is marrying the actual running up and down, doing the athletics, doing the football stuff with the science that you learn. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow.
So, but I just want to get a feedback as to why you want to do this.
Why you want to?
Why you want to do this? Why you? What is wrong? What is wrong? What is wrong?
Why I want to do this? Tobago is a small place. We have too much athletes that just going to waste in Tobago. Too much good athletes, and with a little more training, they could be great. So what I learned in Trinidad is just that once you train specific to your sport, you will be able to progress. So it's just basically training, and I find Tobago too small not to have good athletes coming out of it.
Great.
We don't have proper training, but we still have athletes that just carry our name out there. So with proper training, what would happen?
Exactly. You're seeing why I decided that I couldn't come here this morning. You're seeing it in his face.
Yes.
Brother B.
Yes. yes. Well, and now, and is a young man who wants to give. And I was talking about giving this morning. Now here it is that you are trained and you're ready because you find that too many talents in Tobago that are they idle and they really can make better of themselves if someone recognizes it and give them what the injection that they need to excel. I don't want to, but I have to, given that you are here on behalf of the PDP.
Right.
What better can be done from your perspective, given what is happening now? What better can be done with the presence of sports science in the sporting arena in the Tobago space? I mean, you spoke to a small side of it, but again, let's just explore. Let me imagine. Let me go outside of the box and just say, if we only do this, what can happen? Take it from there. And I'm not trying to. You go according to what you can carry. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
All right.
Well, as I was. There's still other people with training. Same thing with the individual development. So with training, everyone they will introspect themselves and realize, right, I getting better at this and this because of this kind of training. Or even the person who training you will tell you why you're doing this, what this will strengthen, why you shouldn't do this because this will weaken this, or you know, just showing you the science behind everything to make you understand why you're doing certain stuff would cause at least use the sports science, I should say, because you can't just train willy-nilly and expect anything.
Right.
Expect the best.
Right. There's a specific
for specific sports.
Right. Okay.
And that is what we need in Tobago. But we're small and we have people who can do this kind of stuff. But I am not the only sports scientist in Tobago.
Okay. How many are you? It's an elite field, though.
Yeah.
It is a unique field, and it is something that most of us don't even know really exists. Because what we were talking about yesterday was the fact that, if you think everyone goes into the gym and they're lifting weights and whatnot, but depending on the sports that you are lifting, that would determine the kind of weights you lift, that would determine the kind of exercise you do within the gym. And it's not just going in the gym and do what you want. But we need somebody with the kind of knowledge that Mr. Benjamin has to guide the young people to say, okay, well, if you are an athlete, if you are running, these are the kinds of exercises you need to do. If you're playing cricket, you probably shouldn't do that one. You should do this one instead. And the fact is, right here in Tobago, in a 29-year-old young man, and in others, there is that knowledge, there is that wisdom, there is that capacity, but we are not yet using it. So to go back to your question about what we need to do, Brother B, is to really identify that we have these kinds of skills around us, among us. And by the way, it is Mr. Benjamin who has been listening, who has been hearing what we're talking about, and who sought us out and said, you know what, this is something that is important, this is something that is critical. I want to be a part of this movement.
My.
Exactly.
So what drive you then? What drive you then? You had to give us you obviously have to have a passion for wanting to be a part of the PDP movement.
Yeah, the Progressive Democratic Patriots.
Tell us why. Tell me. Go ahead.
Change. We need change.
And it's as simple as that.
Yeah, it's simple as that. We need change. Have nothing going on.
Nothing going on?
Nothing going on.
All right. So how many years you spent in Trinidad doing your
My degree was 4 years. I worked OJT 2 years after. As a massage therapist at UTT.
Okay. So where are you now? What do you do now, presently?
Unemployed.
And that's what we'll talk about tomorrow. The fact that this young man, with this kind of knowledge, with this kind of capacity, is sitting in Tobago right now and is unemployed after applying to all of the major places in Tobago, and is sitting here unemployed. That's what we're talking about. Now, Brother B, let me go back real quickly to looking at some of the issues as it relates to Jamaica. Now, we always say that when you look at America, when you look at the UK, when you look at those quote-unquote first world countries, they are different. So we can't really compare ourselves to them. But we in the Caribbean now have the benefit of having Jamaica as a example, as a bright and shining example of what we can do with sports. Now, I spent a little bit of time looking at the Jamaica sports policy. Right. And you would be amazed at the kind of detail, the kind of things that are included in the Jamaica sports policy. Now, yes. Now, some of the things that are here, some of the things that Mr. Benjamin spoke about, having sports for all, not just being an athlete, but ensuring that everybody is involved in some kind of physical activity. That is there. They also, because they understand the importance, the social connections that you get from sports, that you can use it to promote peace and unity within their communities. They understand that. But they also understand at a greater level that to have excellent athletes who get to the level of Bolt and so forth, you need to really, really include physical activity and sport within the school setting, and within the school setting from the beginning, from all the way at preschool, primary, secondary, and tertiary. So they actually have a process where they go in and they ensure that physical activity is a part of the curriculum. Now, can we really, really say that in Trinidad and Tobago, specifically Tobago now, that physical activity is a part of our curriculum? Somehow our curriculum has gotten so full, has gotten so packed with the quote-unquote academic stuff that we tend to say we don't really have time for the physical activity stuff, for all of the things we are accustomed to do, for all of the netball and the football and the rounders and all of the things that we are accustomed to play. You know, there's a playtime. All of those things we seem to be pushing out of the window now, instead of ensuring that they are a part of the process. And we spoke yesterday or day before about the fact that when you actually have sports, when you actually when you're doing physical activity, that causes your brain to develop in a certain way that actually makes it easier for you to do the maths and the English. And it helps with concentration.
Right.
Exactly.
Let me go there, because the scientific element. There's data for that, but I'm not going to ask you to quote data. The whole question of the activity, physical activity that generates what in the brain, right, for you to study. Let me say I'm outside and I'm my adrenaline rush. Let me say I was feeling lazy before to move this bag of cement. When I'm done exercising with that same energy, I could lift 10 bags of cement. Right. Explain that, because what is that though? You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I understand. Good. That is just the adrenaline running through your body. Your muscles warm, the blood pumping through your body. But that is different from the exercise and when you're going and study. Because what happens when you to get the most out of studying after exercise, you need to take a little rest. So after exercise, you take a little rest, and then you wake up, your brain is more active to soak up the information. Okay. So that is the time you really need to study. After your exercise, you take a small rest. You wake up, you feel refreshed to study your work, and you'll actually soak in more at them times.
Now, Brother B, to answer that question or to get a little bit more detail if people are interested. Now, when you are exercising and when you're doing physical activity, you actually have blood rushing to your brain.
Yes,
more blood is rushing to your brain. And your muscles actually release something that is known as a neurotrophic factor. Okay. And then when the blood, so you now have that neurotrophic factor that is now in your blood rushing to your brain. And when that rushes to your brain, it actually now causes the brain cells to make new connections. Okay. And these new connections is what happens when you are memorizing, when you are learning, when you are thinking critically through something. Exactly. It's those brain cells that are connecting. Yes. So the fact that your muscles are releasing this chemical that then directly impacts on your brain, that is what is causing you to now be more alert and to now be able to, that thing, that maths problem that you were trying to solve before and you couldn't figure it out, and now suddenly it come like nothing.
All right. Now, and that happens in the reverse sometimes, like your brain or your mind, you go totally blank. Yes. And then it comes back. It comes back, right. What is that though? There's a term for that as well, eh?
I can't think of what that is right now.
But you know.
Yeah, I can't think of what that is right now.
All right, okay.
Now, going back to what Jamaica has in its policy. One of the things that it includes is the fact that in its tertiary institutions, it actually has what are known as high performance centers. Right. Do you want to explain a little bit what a high performance center is?
High performance center basically is, as I was talking before, training specific. It will, for a runner, you'll come and do exercises for running.
So it is a facility where you can actually come into the facility and do exactly what you need to do.
Exactly what you need to do for your sport specifically.
Right. Now, we spoke about that is something that is included in the current draft of the THA policy, but do we have any high performance centers here in Tobago?
Not that I know.
No, I can't think of any high performance centers. When you think about what we have here in Tobago, we have Shaw Park and so forth, but when you really think of a high performance center,
we don't have it.
We don't have it.
We don't have a clue what that is.
Exactly. I don't even think we know what that is. And there are people who are on the island who know what that is, who worked in those things, who can tell you exactly what you need to do to develop them and so forth. And this is why the Progressive Democratic Patriots, I think, is actually ahead of its time, because we are recognizing the fact that there are people on the ground with the capacity that we need to move Tobago into a better place right here, and we are simply not utilizing them. We are simply not utilizing them. And it is our responsibility to ensure that if our Tobago people leave Tobago and go anywhere, disrupt their family, disrupt their lives, and go and study, and then come back, we have a responsibility to ensure that the skills that they come back with is used to its maximum for us here in Tobago. And that is what we are not seeing right now. When I came back, for example, I went and I went off up to the THA and I said, hey, I'm here, I'm back.
Right.
I ready?
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing. I ready?
Yeah.
And the response I got was, okay, so
no respect.
Who are you?
Right.
Okay, where you come back from? Where you, and I basically had to go and bring the documentation and say, hey, I got the money from the THA, I am now ready to work.
Back,
And I was actually quite surprised when I saw the response, and a lot of my friends, a lot of my family, a lot of my colleagues are experiencing that. So they come back enthusiastically, and very shortly after they pack up and leave.
I'm telling you.
And we wonder why they say Tobago can't move, can't go anywhere, can't develop. That is exactly why, because the people who have the capacity, we are not finding them and we are not utilizing them here.
Exactly.
It has to stop. And Tobago, don't be worried. Don't be. It is going to stop.
Listen now, Doc. And it's, no. Here it is. We have a young man who would have pursued the field of sports science. Now, that, as I said, is unheard of in the Tobago space.
Exactly.
And what it offers is to develop our athletes, to bring them to professional level, and how they can better themselves in terms of make a living out of the sports and what have you.
Yep.
Now, I said yesterday that if you walk on almost any beach in Tobago where young men live, you could find a swimmer that could compete against Phelps.
Most definitely.
But if he does not get the guidance and the real development, now you see how we don't understand the importance of the industry called sport, the sporting industry.
Exactly, it is an industry.
So when you would have returned, Dr. Faith, with your knowledge, your wealth, there is a perception that believe that the brand new, first of all, too overqualified.
Yeah, you're too bright.
You're too bright. You will make me look bad. So I can't hire you.
Right.
So you go back where you come from. And that is what keeps Tobago in the stymied position that it is in.
Exactly.
Because
and,
you
then
said
and then we want to complain about the brain drain.
Exactly.
But it is you that basically chased the brain.
You are chess way. Let me use local parlance. Chase or jeb. You know jeb way? Jeb.
I don't know what jeb way.
Jeb way.
Oh, really? No, I don't know that one. I don't know that one.
It's a long, it's a old But no, and so to the point that you're making, sir, and which is, and which Dr. Fitz spoke to, the trouble that we had to endure as people who would have gone and acquired knowledge. They still, and I don't want to bring myself in it, they still cannot accept what I am pregnant with,
That's true.
Because they acquired differently. And that in itself is an enemy to those who are here. True. They can't and they will never respect it. Because they believe they know you when you used to tote water. And they remember that and they label you as that, the little boy that tote water up on the hill.
But that is
now, how do we, and I'm bringing both of you because you did it outside and you came, even though it's right in Trinidad.
Right.
The point that I'm making, you are equipped with knowledge that could transform this place if given an opportunity to do so. And so, take it from there as what the PDP, I think you would better be able to answer that.
Right.
Now, given what he is offering, Mr. Benjamin, how do we take that, harness that, and make ourselves with our, as we spoke yesterday about the uniform that we all designed here with the brand and so on, and has a team from Tobago in Olympics 2024.
And that's the kind of planning we need to be doing. That's the kind of planning we need to be doing. Now, one of the things that the Progressive Democratic Patriots has said that we will do from the get-go is to have a manpower audit done. Now, initially we thought about doing it in terms of the government services, the people who are within the THA who are already working. But we're realizing that a lot of the manpower that we need is actually outside of the THA. So that needs to be done for the entire island so that we can identify here, yes, there are people who with these specific skills, and then figure out where we can best place those individuals. Now, I have my aunt saying she's seeing me, I guess, on the webcam. Morning, Candy. Yes. So that is something that the PDP we've decided a long time ago that has to be a first start. We need to figure out where we are, we need to figure out who we have, and we need to then figure out the best way to use those resources. We also are getting, and we're getting a lot of this from outside, of Tobagonians who are outside with all of these skills, who are just waiting for an opportunity to come back because they realize that the PDP is saying something different. We are behaving differently. We are thinking differently. And because of that, it is now a welcoming space. Tobago is now going to be a welcoming space for people who are real professionals within their spheres. And that is what we have to do. Tobago has to be built by individuals who know what they are doing. Brother B, I will be the first one to tell you, if I don't know, I just quickly let you know, I don't know. And you need to find somebody else with that kind of capacity. You need to find somebody else with that kind of skill, because I know where my beginning is and I know where my ending is. And I think that is another thing that you get from having kind of formal training. You get to understand where you are.
The cutoff point.
Where your cutoff point is. Exactly. And you need to, and there is nothing wrong with saying, I do not know how to do this, which is why I am going to ask Mr. Benjamin to do the sports science stuff, because I did public health, I did not do sports science. Exactly. So, and that is what we need to be able to do, and not be afraid of people who have different kinds of skills than us. And the PDP is here, and we are saying that as it relates to sports, as it relates to any other field, we are opening up Tobago. We are ensuring that the best people with the best capacities are the ones who are doing the work, because that's the only way we can do it. Now, just go back quickly, one more thing, or a couple more things with the Jamaica policy. Jamaica actually has in their policy has an entire section that deals with the using sports for economic development. There's an entire section about that. They speak to sports tourism, which is something we just touch on here. I mean, in ours, we just say we're going to use sports tourism, and it's a good thing. But Jamaica actually outlines in detail how we're going to use the sports tourism. Again, goes back to what we were talking about yesterday or day before, the sports manufacturing. Ensuring that you have your own clothes, you have your own thing. And by the way, that is an entire science by itself. Okay. That is an entire science by itself. Understanding that the kind of clothes. Now, before I knew about it too much, I used to just run in anything. To be honest, I used to run in anything. But when I started learning about the right shoes, and I have to credit my good friend Dr. Vern for that. Vern actually looked at my feet, looked at the formation of my feet, and then told me, no, Faith, you cannot use those shoes. When you are running, you need to use shoes that relate to pronation and all kind of story. And she went into the science of it. Yes. And believe me, I used to have my knees used to hurt, my back used to hurt, everything used to hurt when I was running. But from the time I got the correct shoes, all of that stopped. All of that stopped.
My.
Exactly. Goes back to the clothes again. By the time you get to the, when you realize you're wearing the regular jersey and so forth, and then you put on a real dry fit kind of thing, you realize it pulls the sweat away from you, and all of those things are important. There's an entire science behind that.
Clothing and so on. All right, and so does that speak to your feel? You're quite aware what she's talking about?
Yes, exactly. Because now when I ask if she have flat feet,
because he's saying
what she don't said about the pronation, and that would cause your feet flat. If you don't have the right footwear, your foot will be running and your knees will be caving in right through and hurt your knees.
You're serious?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm learning.
Exactly.
All right, but you normally take calls. Is that
yes,
time?
Yes.
Are you ready?
Let me see. I wanted to mention one other thing. Another thing that Jamaica has, which I thought was brilliant. Part of their economic strategy as it relates to sport had to do with their sport intellectual property. Now, when I saw that, I had to think for a second. Sports intellectual property. What is that? Now, we usually think of intellectual property is when whenever you think of something and you create something, you then say, this is mine and it is my property. And then if anybody else wants to use it, then they have to pay for it. Now, as it relates to sport, that could be a new way of training. And because they've been running, they have the perfect examples of Bolt and those guys. People are now coming to them to see what all you're doing. And they are now capitalizing on that. They are now capitalizing on that. And that is something that we need to think about here. Honestly, when I saw it, I said, wow. Who came up with that? But that shows that Jamaica is really looking at sport as an industry and not just running up and down, kicking balls.
Excellent. So we just have to adopt the policies from,
Well, we need to actually work. We need to work on our policies here and actually have a policy that is specific to Tobago.
You could use it.
You could use the framework.
Be specific for your own.
Okay.
Exactly, and then the next step, which is what we always seem to miss, is the actual implementation.
Okay.
That is the part we always seem to fall along on.
That's the main man.
That is it, Implementation.
Talk all you want, but hey, if we see nothing out there, you're wasting time.
Exactly.
Let's go. You ready for the lines?
Yes, sure. Let's get a couple calls, have some ideas of what people think about what we've been talking about in terms of sport in Tobago. What are some of the things that you think need to be a part of our sports policy here in Tobago, looking at what is in Jamaica, looking at what is in the UK policy, and we have examples all over the world. Whether you are a sports person and you think you are being underutilized or not utilized at all, please call in, let us know. But you have to give me the numbers because I can't remember.
The numbers are 639-0791, 631-0219, and 660-8373. Dr. Faith and Mr. Benjamin. He's a sports scientist. And of course, a very elite field, one must say, and he belongs to that team. Let's go. Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Brother B.
Yes.
Good morning to the panel there.
Good morning.
I am an advocate of sport in Tobago. One of the sport that I believe that is already dead in Tobago is cricket.
Boy.
And we always talk about bringing back cricket because cricket is a financial institution right now, especially with the CPL. And I believe that if Tobago is involved in that, we'll also see foreign investment coming in as well.
Excellent.
So we should look into that.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Yes. All right. So your calls are welcome. 639-0791, 631-0219, 660-8373. Cricket, a dying art, a dying sport.
But the thing about capitalizing on these international things that are coming in. You need to have the facility here. You need to. I remember last year sometime we were trying to have a cricket something here, and you had to wait a couple of days and be postponed a couple of days because the field wasn't cut and all kind of rigmarole story.
Dr. Faith and Mr. Benjamin, you know, it's good to hear somebody has had a passion like I do. You know, listen, I went to the cow pen in Shopper. I just call it that.
Oh, Lord.
Because I want me to feel insulted. And I deliberately say that every time I talk about it. And I'm sitting on one side of my bottom because the other side tired on the hard board. And we are going there every time there's a game or two there. They were giving out cricketing stadiums throughout the Caribbean when we had World Cup some years ago. One bright fella from Bishop said we don't need it in Tobago, and all of Tobago listened and supported that.
Wow.
Story done. Let's go. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to Mr.
Good morning.
Yeah.
I want to talk about clown football. No, I have a female football team. And just imagine, last year, the league competed. 4 MVP.
You're breaking up in a partner. You had to come and you're sounding very distant.
The area I'll call it back.
All right, okay. Yeah,
please do.
Yeah, all right. So your calls are welcome, people. 639-079-161. This is a series on sports, and we have to understand. And Watson promised yesterday that we'll do the arts as well, culture.
Right.
Because sports and culture that really attracts young people. Let me stay there. And all right, so your calls are welcome. We're dealing with sport, people. How important is it in the Tobago space? We don't have the facilities. You would have been working in Trinidad, training Trinidad, developing Trinidad, and you watch the indoor sporting facility, you watch the grounds, you watch the stadiums that they have, and so on. Up to just the other day is a Tobago. The other day, we just said the other day. And they opened a spanking new indoor sporting facility. When I saw that, hear me now, I said to Sharon, we need one of that in Tobago. When did they turn the sod for that?
You didn't even know.
Well, exactly, and it was done within a speed. Now,
in Tobago?
In Trinidad.
In Trinidad.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I'm like, what happened to Tobago? Why we can't allocate some money out of the budget that we gain rent? Let me tell the landlord that own all them building in Tobago that the THA is renting from. We owe you a month. We owe you for a year. Let me owe you for a year and take that money there and say, oh God, give you a blinder.
But Brother B, if you really hear how much those rents are, you ain't even have to owe for a year, you know. You have to owe just a couple months and we
tell
good to
me
go.
Something.
Just a couple months and we good to go. And we have a top class facility here.
Yesterday I was asking about kickback, donkey kick or mule kickback. and people understand what's going on in this Tobago, you know. Let's go. Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Yes, Adami.
Yes, Adami, but you call me my African name. He never forget that, you know. Good morning.
Yeah, morning.
Yes,
good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
No, I didn't mean to sound disrespectful or anything, but I really will be disturbed when I hear people really talking about supporting PNM. I will be disturbed. I'm not talking politics, but I'll be disturbed. I will tell you why. We have an Olympic team that we send with 4 representative athletes from Tobago.
Right.
And a whole bunch of officials from Trinidad, not one from Tobago. Not one, not even to say, well, let me carry him just to bring some water so he go know when he come back to Tobago when he had to develop the officials in Tobago.
Not one official, no, baby's there.
We have at least one that I know of because we have a physiotherapist from Tobago.
Yes.
Dr. Vern Allen is with the team right now, and she's from
sorry, not I'm talking about the officials like the doctor and them.
Right.
I'm talking about the coaches.
No, well,
you see why I say that?
Wait, let me correct you. Mr. Franklin is there with the team.
No, he's not.
You serious?
Wade is not there.
Who?
Wade Franklin, he's not there.
He's not there?
No.
You're serious?
I'm serious.
Okay, well, I need
you see, Wade would have been an integral part of many of those girls, especially girls' development.
And he's not there?
He's not there.
I don't get him in the studio here. No, we had to talk that. No, I'm serious.
I'm saying for too long. The last time it had the game in Tobago when you and I were talking by the side.
Yes.
And you were so upset because you were saying for years and years, we're so happy that we're saying we're not going, but it's a chance to get out of the house to see different, something different.
So we going.
Eventually we doesn't end up.
Yes. Right.
That shows the passion we have for that.
Exactly.
Yeah. And the young man that was calling, that was disturbing. I know it's somebody I know personally. He has a daughter that excels well in football. Like Polter, and for too long we've been saying the same thing over and over and being promised things, and when the politicians come back, we just accept it as well. Well, they said this time wasn't them, it's this one. It's the same thing over and over again. And as you call it kickback, it's not kickback. We are in a position where we are the ones employing them.
Exactly.
We can't pay kickback. Kickback is the ones who come in after and reaping the benefit of we putting them, employing them, and they giving them whatever for them to get kickback. We're not in a position to give kickback. We're in a position to employ them.
Right.
So every 4 years they come and they seek employment with their sweet mouth, with their promises. Tobago, Lena and Mason has been in the doldrum for years with facility. And it's not for a lack of having place to put them. If Maya could get a football field, anywhere in Tobago could get a football field. Or a facility for people to develop themselves.
Some kind of sporting facility.
And for too long, we've been calling radio station, we've been hearing people talking about things, and come next election, we have the same people for the 4 years, and then after the election, we hear people start to bite again. You see me? This is the last. For too long it's happening.
So call it that. So January, you know what you have to do in January. Because you're not giving another 4 years.
Everybody will say, I didn't support the PNM, but one day let us be winners.
Winners, well, we have to change that. We definitely have to change
No, you
that.
see, the thing is, what the PNM does that's caused them to win the election, they are laying the groundwork now with the workers on the ground now. So by the time the election come around, they already have phone numbers and all that for the people and them who are not illiterate in the sense of not knowing. Ignorance is not knowing, not just arrogance, but they're ignorant to the fact of what really taking place, but the PNM would have already done their groundwork.
And that is
for
why...
instance, look when they had the internal election a couple months ago, a couple weeks ago, I should say.
Months ago.
Watch the work they put in. Watch the work that they put in to get people to come out and vote.
All right.
They went as far as outsmarting some people to tell them that ain't nothing. You could just sign up. You could just sign up because there's not no thing election. This is an internal election. But lo and behold, come next year, these numbers and people that they had registered members became members and they didn't even know.
Exactly.
All right, leave it there. All right, thank you for that.
These are some of the things that other parties that, like yourself, who are genuine people, who deserve a chance. It's like the West Indies team. We play with what we call is the best and losing. The better we give somebody else a chance and lose the same way too.
All right, partner. Excellent. All right, thank you for that. All right, people. So we're dealing with the whole question of sport, and obviously he had to vent and share all that. But
Brother B, what I mean, what he's showing there is frustration, and this is the frustration. I'm glad that he feels free enough to call and say it publicly. But this is the kind of frustration we've been hearing on the ground. This is the kind of frustration that people have been, they've been living with it, and they finally saying, well, finally we have an opportunity. One man actually told me the other day, I wish election was tomorrow. I come in and vote. I wish I can't wait, because they've been tired, they've been sick and tired of what we've been getting, which is practically nothing.
All right. Okay, let's go. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, brother.
Yes, culture.
I'm finding a good spot now.
You're right, stay ready. Yes.
All right, good. The football league just completed. The Tobago Football League. You know why here? So I can listen, there are no money, so the league are doing no presentation. So there are no MVP, there are no most gold prize, nothing. What kind of encouragement they give me?
Right.
They tell me, but they have money to run a big election just the other day. And then these are the same people that say the youth element doing nothing positive. And when the youth try to do something positive, they're not supporting them. You understand? And I have a big problem with that, because the man in charge of sport, the guy, he used to play football. I know he used to play football. And none of them see fit to give Mr. Sinclair at least a little piece of land. So athletes continue.
Now imagine that.
You understand? After a man like you give out so much as scholarships in Tobago, help so much you, get so much you off the street, off and all kind of stuff like that. Right. Away from that. And them insist it to give a little piece of land to run the coaching school academy. If we have something like that, we could have Manchester and all these things coming and play friendly and people could get contracts and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Buy for Barcelona at a young age. You have plenty of young players already with natural talent.
You know, excellent.
So I just fed up at them playing politics and they're not looking after the youth and them, and every election they come on about them care about the youth.
All right.
But you know, brother, he raised a point there that is another thing, and that's why it has to be in the thing. That's another point that is in the Jamaican policy, where they actually talk about athlete development, and one of the components about athlete development is ensuring that there is appropriate incentives and financial assistance and so forth. Because remember, there are people who are actually leaving their jobs to do sport because that is where their passion is. But you have to ensure that when they do that their families are not suffering and that their life can continue.
All right, Dr. Faith, let me engage you 1 second. I mean, I think the coaching school is one of the places that we can claim that has given the best footballers in Trinidad and Tobago that space, that little piece of plot of land in Canby. Now, when the controversy started to brew over the removing of the coaching school from there and so on, what should be? Let me just pretend that you're in office as the Secretary for Sports, the Chief Secretary, and all of the rest of them.
Right.
A blessing such as that. Right. Let me say, and there's a land issue with that. We have so much land, state land all over Tobago, Dr. Faith, Mr. Benjamin. You are telling me it is terribly remiss, in fact, it was a blunder in leadership, to have not relocated the coaching school.
And that would have been easy picking.
Get works department to send a bulldozer or a tractor to clear a piece of land, construct a new field for Bertil Sinclair to conduct the coaching school. Is that rocket science to do?
That is not.
You know how much children were their careers were stopped. There's a young man coach that is roaming the world now, Trevor Caesar, footballer. We're not hearing about him, you know. Eventually, go here just
He's going to come back and we'll be meeting him at the airport with the thing.
Now he come out of the coaching school. The Dwight York, Keon, all of them, and you telling me that you would sit down there in your office, have them pelt out Mr. Dwight, chase him out of their place there with overland dispute, and you can replace or find another place to put the coaching school? Or let give me a chance with all the foolishness in this Tobago, yeah? Tobago's problem is Tobagonians. And it's time we get out of that.
Exactly.
Let's take another. Hello, let me talk too much in all there. Good morning, Avex. Good morning.
But Abi.
Yes, sir.
Good morning.
Yes.
And let's just get me vexed. Let's just get me vexed.
Yeah, why you get vexed? Tell me why you get vexed.
Here, why I get vexed. I just listen to a caller calling there, talking a whole unholy pile of garbage that is left unattended to. You cannot tell me in this day and age. I called a couple days ago when Watson Duke was on.
Yes.
And they were talking about the sport policy, and I was trying to explain to them what the sport policy was about, what it's supposed to be. And in this day and age, you telling me people are still calling to talk about football league done and the assembly ain't get no money to give the footballers for them to keep presentation. What load of rubbish are you hearing here this morning? That's what we encouraging and entertaining.
Well,
gimme attitude.
Sir,
hold on, my dear. Hold on. The part of the sport policy was and is that each association or each sporting discipline is to come up with their own financial plan to take away the burden of dependency on the state treasury. The problem that we have in Tobago is that most of the associations, the only thing they get into office to do is to keep a competition and keep a fetter after our line. And talk about that is presentation. That is the development of sport we're talking about.
So, sir, it goes back to the fact that when we look at sports as an entire industry, everyone has to be on board with that vision for sports. Everyone has to be on board, and it means that we have to move away from we have to move.
You want to interrupt? Okay, go ahead.
We have to move away from the traditional way of thinking that it is just running up and down and throwing a game, and then that is it. That is why.
I expect that is okay.
Exactly, and that is why we have to look at it in a larger picture, to look at the economic gains that you could go from there. But I think we've been yes, sir.
Dr. Phil, let me tell you, you know the problem in Tobago? We have professional sport in Tobago being managed by amateurs.
Okay.
That is the bottom line. Nobody is thinking outside the box.
Outside the box.
Everybody sees that you see, we box Tobago into this 27 miles in length and 116 square miles. That's
yes.
what we box Tobago into. Tobago is a much larger place than you think.
Right.
When you think sport, you think tourism, you think health tourism. How do we engender a better life for a rounded Tobagonian playing sport or true sport? You think education, you think everything. I am so fed up at this notice of sport just being running a competition.
Right.
We have to get out of that.
Exactly.
And that is the conversation I want to be part of and encouraged by us. And when you all on the radio, I want you all to encourage us and stop people, not because it's politics and I know you all trying to get into office, but stop encouraging people to continue that kind of foolish conversation. It just does not help the Tobagonians.
Excellent. All right, Padda.
Have a wonderful day.
Nice. All right, people. So your calls are welcome. 639-079-1, 631-0219, 660-8373. We're talking sports. Dr. Faith Brebner Israel is in the PDP Hour. And, of course, guesting is the young man, Benjamin. Yes, you want to say something?
Yeah. With the last caller, actually, for a football association, in order to have growth, you need to have presentations and these things at the end of the season. That is for appreciation
that is an
for
incentive,
the teams,
right?
And so, because all associations have player of the year, most goals, best goal, that is incentive to make sure your league progress.
Yes, right.
But still, yes, every organization needs to still have their financial order, so they could have their own presentation within their clubs.
But you need a subvention of some sort from somewhere.
Well, but the subventions usually come at the beginning, and they are there to help you build. Now, the idea is you then, even all of those associations have to think about it in terms of a business.
Yes.
It has to go back in terms of a business. You cannot just think of it as doing this thing for charity. So you have to think about all of the activities that you're doing, strategically figure out what needs to be done to ensure that this is a business.
Either we keep a barbecue, we wash some cars,
whatever it is.
Need to raise funds
so that
so you want to always be asking.
Excellent. All right, we got to take your point, Mui. Let's go. Hello, good morning.
Hey, brother Lee.
Yes.
I just called back to say that obviously the call I didn't really understand what I was really speaking about. And the guy required to explain part of what I was really speaking about. Talk about the incentives, somebody the encouragement for the youth and them.
Yes.
Because even though watching the Spanish league, at the end of the competition, it must have most valuable player in any competition they watch.
Right.
You understand? So I this man just saying it's different.
Don't worry. Don't leave it.
So I'm not attacking him in no kind of way, but I just.
But you know what, caller, you know what it is? Because this is exactly the kind of discussion we need to have. This is the kind of discussion we need to have. Because
and you need a public space to do it.
And you need a public space to do it because people have different ideas, different views, and you need to be able to pull it.
You're building Tobago from a sporting standpoint. You see again too, and Dr. Faith and Mr. Benjamin. He's just there. But look, listen, we have to all agree that the sporting industry needs to be embraced in a Tobago space.
As an industry.
As an industry.
As a business.
As a business. Now, we have the Franklin brothers. I just learned that he did not go to Rio with the team. And I think it might be the second time, If I'm not mistaken, I go and check. When I go up in this, when I go home,
go to confirm
I'm going to look for baby.
Right.
And somebody tell baby stop home. Because when I come up there this evening, because I'm going to do work again. When I come home this evening, baby, I come and look for you. Because I need for you to come in here. Once you're in Tobago, you can't tell me that you have contributed to the development of all of them who are representing Tobago. The Kalian Betis, the Simoy Hackett, the Ronnie Kwao, the what's the other one? Not Lolon Gordon. I don't think he had anything to do with all them. But all of them who came out of the Tobago, baby and his brother, Gerard, Franklin, and the other brother, had something to do, not something, in fact, they were integral in their development. And you cannot tell me that, and this is where we are falling down.
Well, but this even goes back to who decided who goes. Now, we at the Tobago House of Assembly, this may have been a situation where if the organizing,
Tobago, as I say,
if the organizing committee
can offer sport, I think is 34 billion.
Excellent.
Right there, just from sport.
Just from sport.
So, yeah, give them that. Oh, it's all right. Excellent,
now,
Dr. Faith.
The Progressive Democratic Patriots, we are an organization that is here to build a better Tobago. Now, we had the benefit this morning of waking up on this absolutely amazingly wonderful island. It is good, but it always has the opportunity